Good morning, everyone. Let's go ahead and call the Joint Money Committee Subcommittee on Public Safety, Natural Resources, and Transportation to order. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Assemblywoman Anderson, Assemblywoman Brown-May, Assemblywoman Dickman, Assemblywoman Gorlow, Assemblyman Haven, Senator Goycochea, Senator Wynn, Assemblyman Watts, Chair Harris.
Here, thank you. Appears all members are present, so we'll go ahead and get started. We have 9 budgets on the agenda today, all from the Office of the Military. I'll go ahead and turn it over to fiscal staff to walk us through the closing documents.
Good morning, Nancy Morris, Fiscal Analysis Division for the record. Today, the subcommittee will consider 9 Office of the Military budgets, 3 of which have been previously heard by the subcommittee. The first budget begins on page 3 of the closing packet. It is the Office of the Military budget, account number 3650, which enlists, organizes, arms, equips, and trains the state's military and National Guard units. There are 5 major closing issues in this budget. The first one begins on the bottom of page 3, which is 3 new unclassified positions for youth programs that were submitted via budget amendments. The first position on page 4 is an unclassified Starbase Program Deputy Administrator for the Henderson Starbase Program from Budget Amendment A 2316-13650. The governor recommends general fund appropriations of $240 and federal funds of $235,925 over the 2023 biennium for 1 new position. As background information, the 2021 legislature approved federal funds to fund 8 unclassified positions, facility renovation expenditures, equipment, furniture, and operating expenditures to establish 2 Starbase programs, 1 in Reno and 1 in Henderson. Each location has 1 administrator, 1 executive assistant, and 2 training specialist positions, and the programs allow 5th grade students to interact with military personnel, to explore careers, and observe real-world science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM applications at Nevada National Guard bases. At the Henderson Starbase location, 745 students from 7 schools have participated in the program already, and the office indicates the deputy administrator position would serve as an instructor, which would allow for the addition of a 2nd class at this location. The office indicates it projects to serve 900 students by the end of the current school year and would be able to serve an additional 900 students with the addition of this position, and that 17 schools are currently on a wait list to participate in the program. The new deputy administrator position would assist the existing administrator with the management, supervision, coordination, organization, and implementation of the Starbase program at Henderson. And the governor recommends this position to start on July 1st, 2023, to allow the office to compete with school districts in recruiting qualified candidates. During the budget hearing on March 31st, 2023, the office indicated Starbase programs are required to be in military facilities, but would require additional personnel and space to expand the programs. And the expansion of the existing Henderson facility would allow the office to add a 2nd class, and the Department of Defense had reviewed the state Starbase programs and indicated the deputy director position was needed in order to add a 2nd class at either location, and the office currently plans to add the 2nd class only at Henderson at this time. The decision for the subcommittee on page 5 is, does the subcommittee wish to recommend approval of budget amendment A 231613650 for 1 new unclassified Starbase program deputy administrator position funded with general fund appropriations of $240 and federal funds of $235,925 over the 2023 biennium, and decisions pertaining to unclassified salaries and position changes will be determined by the money committees when the pay bill is considered and staff requests authority to make any adjustments subsequently required.
All right, thank you, Ms. Morris. Are there any questions from committee members? Okay, if not, I'll go ahead and accept a motion.
Thank you, Chair. Move to recommend approval of Budget Amendment A231613650 for one new unclassified STAR-based program deputy administrator position, funded with general fund appropriations of $240 and federal funds of $235,925 over the 2023 to 2025 biennium, and provides staff authority to make any adjustments that are required.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion from Chair Watts, a second from Senator Nguyen. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Ms. Morris.
The second position in this first item is an unclassified youth challenge program deputy administrator for Carlin, submitted via budget amendment A231603650. The governor recommends general fund appropriations of $57,299 and federal funds of $168,607 over the 2023 biennium for one new position that would assist the existing administrator in managing the daily operations of the Battle-Born Youth Challenge program in Carlin. As background, the 2021 legislature approved funding to continue 51 full-time positions and the implementation of the Battle-Born Youth Challenge program, which was initially approved by the 2019 legislature. The program aims to educate, train, and mentor youth who have dropped out or are at risk of dropping out of high school, and is supported by 75% federal funds. Since the program began in July 2021, only 42 students have graduated from the program, comprised of 2 classes with 21 participants in each class, and the office did not provide a class covering the period of July 2022 through December 2022 due to low enrollment and challenges in recruiting positions for the program. The office projects it will enroll 70 students in fiscal 2024 and 75 students in fiscal year 2025. And based on the Division of Human Resource Management data warehouse, as of March 22nd, 2023, only 14 of the authorized 51 positions were currently filled, which is a 72.5% vacancy rate. During the budget hearing on March 31st, the office indicated the newly hired program administrator for the Battle-Born Youth Challenge program was a previous school district superintendent who had partnerships in identifying access to students that might benefit from the program. And in addition, recruiters for the Battle-Born Youth Challenge program had started partnering with military recruiters to reach out to students in high schools. Subsequent to the budget hearing, the office indicated 53 students were currently enrolled in the Battle-Born Youth Challenge program. The office testified that the high cost of living and low level of pay are the 2 most significant obstacles in staff recruitment, and the office was considering alternating shifts and other ways to mitigate the high cost of living. The office indicated the new deputy administrator position would assist with recruiting and allow the existing program administrator to travel and observe how other youth challenge programs in the nation had overcome similar obstacles. The decision for the committee on page 6. Does the subcommittee wish to recommend approval of Budget Amendment A231603650 for one new unclassified Youth Challenge Program Deputy Administrator position funded with general fund appropriations of $57,299 and federal funds of $168,607 over the 2023 biennium, with decisions pertaining to unclassified salaries and position changes will be determined by the money committees when the pay bill is considered, and staff requests authority to make any adjustments subsequently required.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Committee members, is there any discussion on this unit? Senator Goycochea.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I know when we first started this, I believe we were contracted with Elko County School District to provide some of the instructors. I don't know if that's the case yet, or if in fact if we only have our own people in place.
Well, good news, Senator. I think we have the Adjutant General here with us. If you'd like to address that, sir, thank you.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay? Major General Andre Berry, Nevada Military Department. Yes, in terms of the the certified instructors or teachers in the partnership with the Elko County School District, we're just fine there, and they are fulfilling their part of the obligation. This is more of the staff that we're looking to, where the positions are more vacant, and we would, reason why we're requesting this is so our administrator can not only go look at other sites, but also go around the state and have access to counselors and superintendents to work with the various school districts.
Thank you for that. And so technically, your staff is working on getting those students placed in the facility where the true instruction is from with the Elko County School District. I appreciate that. Thank you, Major General.
Committee members, other discussion? I'd just like to note that the 72.5 vacancy rate is rather large even for our struggling state government. And anytime that we add a new position where there's such a large vacancy rate, it causes some concerns. And so I know that Chair Watts has some ideas on how to address that. Thank you. Motion, I'll accept a motion on this unit.
Thank you, Chair. And before I make the motion, I'll just say, again, as we heard in the hearing, you've got a lot going on, a lot of growth in these youth programs, and we want to see them all succeed. Given some of the challenges that have happened with this particular program, I think it would be helpful just for us to have some ongoing updates so that we're aware and aware of any progress and challenges before it potentially comes back before us for additional action. So with that, I would move to recommend approval of Budget Amendment A231603-650 for one new unclassified Youth Challenge Program Deputy Administrator position funded with general fund appropriations of $57,299 and federal funds of $168,607 over the 2023-25 biennium, and provide staff authority to make any adjustments subsequently required, and additionally request a letter of intent requesting annual updates on the Youth Challenge Program to the Interim Finance Committee.
Do we have a second? Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Ms. Morris.
The third position in the first major issue is an unclassified youth programs administrator submitted via Budget Amendment A231503650. The governor recommends general fund appropriations of $90,944 and federal funds of $269,544 over the biennium for one new position to oversee the office's youth programs, which include the Battleborn Youth Challenge Program and the 2 Starbase programs. The office indicates the position would ensure a collaborative and effective working relationship between the 3 programs, provide assistance and secure resources, and interact directly with superintendents, and as well as research potential future locations for expansion of the office's youth programs. The office also indicates the addition of this position would allow more time for the existing administrators to improve their programs. And during the budget hearing on March 31st, 2023, the office indicated the existing administrative services officer, who does not have experience in youth education, is currently responsible for overseeing the 3 youth programs. And the recommended new position would have experience as an educator to oversee the programs, work with school districts and the Department of Defense. The decision for the subcommittee on page 7 is, does the subcommittee wish to recommend approval of Budget Amendment A231503650 for one new unclassified youth programs administrator position funded with general fund appropriations of $90,944 and federal funds of $269,544 over the 2023 biennium, and decisions pertaining to unclassified salaries and position changes will be determined by the money committees when the pay bill is considered and staff requests authority to make any adjustments subsequently required.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Committee members, any questions on this particular budget amendment? Okay, seeing none, I'll go ahead and accept a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I move to recommend approval of Budget Amendment A231503650 for one new unclassified youth programs administrator position funded with general fund appropriations of $90,944 and federal funds of $269,544 over the 2023-25 biennium, and to provide staff authority to make any adjustments subsequently required.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion from Chair Watts, a second from Senator Nguyen. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Ms. Morris.
The second major closing item on this budget is one new unclassified cybersecurity specialist position. The executive budget included general fund appropriations of $210,000 over the biennium for one new position, and on March 7th, the Governor's Finance Office submitted Budget Amendment A231453650, which recommended additional general fund appropriations of $84,277 over the biennium to properly fund the position, as well as add operating equipment and information system expenditures. The office indicates the cybersecurity specialist would coordinate and plan in conjunction with other state agency cybersecurity functions, including the Division of Enterprise IT Services and the Office of Cyber Defense Coordination within the Department of Public Safety. The office indicates the position would integrate and coordinate its mission and capability into the Division of Emergency Management's planning and contingency response operations, and the position would facilitate the ability to conduct vulnerability assessments in partnership with other state agencies. The office indicates this position would be the primary planner or coordinator and integrator of the Nevada National Guard's Joint Task Force Cyber Mission. And during the budget hearing on March 31st, the agency indicated the addition of a new cybersecurity specialist position who would be a Nevada Guard member and a state employee, would provide ongoing access to federal resources, training, and expertise. The decision for the subcommittee on the top of page 9. Does the subcommittee wish to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation as amended by Budget Amendment A231453650 for one new unclassified cybersecurity specialist position funded with general fund appropriations totaling $294,277 over the 2023 biennium, and decisions pertaining to unclassified salaries and position changes will be determined by the money committees when the pay bill is considered. Staff requests authority to make any adjustments subsequently required.
Committee members, any discussion or questions on this position? Okay, not seeing any, I'll accept a motion.
All right, this budget is putting me to the test with these budget amendment numbers. I move to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation as amended by Budget Amendment A231453650 for one new unclassified cybersecurity specialist position funded with general fund appropriations totaling $294,277 over the 2023-25 biennium, and provide staff authority to make any adjustments subsequently required.
I'd second.
Okay, we've got a motion from Chair Watts, a second from Senator Nguyen. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Ms. Morris.
Major closing item number 3 on page 9 of the closing packet, 2 new National Guard range specialist positions. The governor recommends general fund appropriations of $234,964 over the biennium for 2 new positions to operate a new Nevada National Guard small arms firing range in southern Nevada, contingent upon the approval of the governor's recommended capital improvement program project to design and construct a new small arms range in southern Nevada. The governor recommends a start date of May 1st, 2024 for the new positions, which is based on the anticipated date the new firing range in southern Nevada would be operational. The agency indicates that the positions would operate the range during varying hours, and their duties would include scheduling and tracking ranges, managing inventory of parts and equipment, maintaining records, producing reports, setting up and dismantling special equipment, and constructing and repairing targetry. The office indicates it's currently working on an agreement to use the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department's land for the range, which would be contingent upon other agencies being able to use the firing range. The office further indicates if the recommended new positions are not approved, the new firing range would only be operational during National Guard member drills and annual trainings when Guard members would be able to operate the range. Therefore, the range would be unavailable to personnel from other agencies, which would violate the office's planned agreement. During the budget hearing on March 31st, 2023, the office indicated the existing range from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department could not handle the 2,300 Nevada National Guard members expected to use the range each year. And subsequent to the budget hearing, the office indicated the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department was willing to allow the new range to be built at the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department's facility in exchange for being able to use the range. In exchange for the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department being able to use the range. The decision for the subcommittee on page 10 is, does the subcommittee wish to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation for 2 new National Guard range specialist positions funded with general fund appropriations of $234,964 over the 2023-25 biennium, contingent upon approval of the governor's recommended capital improvement program project to design and construct a new small arms firing range in southern Nevada.
Thank you. Members, any questions here? Okay, if not, I'll accept a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I move to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation for 2 new National Guard range specialist positions funded with general fund appropriations of $234,964 over the 2023-25 biennium, contingent upon approval of the governor's recommended capital improvement program project to design and construct a new small arms firing range in southern Nevada.
I'd second.
Okay, we got a motion from Chair Watts, a second from Senator Nguyen. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, members, just before we vote, I want to express my appreciation for actually considering working with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and I'm so happy to hear that they were willing to team up and allow y'all to tag on to their space. That's efficiency in government. I love it. Seeing no other discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Ms. Morris.
The fourth major closing issue in this budget begins on page 10, and it is 14 new positions for ongoing programs in the office. The chart at the top of page 11 specifies the programs and the positions and the funding amounts as recommended by the governor. The first decision unit is for administration and director's office positions. The governor recommends 2 new administrative positions, 2 new accounting positions, and 1 human resource position for the director's office due to the increased workload in the accounting and human resources functions resulting from the addition of the youth program's new federal master cooperative agreements and the transfer of the Division of Emergency Management to the Office of Military. The office indicates 5 existing accounting staff have incurred overtime, increased billing errors, and reduced customer service due to the increase in workload. Staff morale and retention have suffered, and the agency anticipates continuing to lose staff as the result of the increased workload. The office indicates the increase in the human resources workload has caused the office to process special pays late and provide delayed responses to customer requests and inquiries. The office indicates the new administrative services officer position would administer the office's budgets, oversee the office's fiscal staff and operations, allocate resources to various programs, establish and enforce accounting policies, procedures, and internal controls to ensure accountability for all state and federal funds, monitor expenditures, and ensure timely fiscal year closings. The accounting assistant position, according to the office, would ensure payments adhere to regulations and federal agreements, maintain vendor account documentation, and follow up with vendors. The accountant technician position would manage federal reimbursements, assist with budget preparation, and perform fiscal year closing functions. The administrative assistant position would serve as assistant to the existing administrative services officer position, schedule meetings, manage the office's travel program, fleet services program, and inventory. And the personnel technician would create recruitments in the state's personnel system, process personnel documents, and receive and review state active duty hire documents and resolve discrepancies, in addition to verifying timesheets, processing payroll adjustments, and monitoring employee appraisal timing and completion. The decision unit includes vacancy savings totaling $33,876 in fiscal year '24 and $46,861 in fiscal year '25, which are not typically included in enhancement decision units, since recommendations for new positions typically have start dates of October 1st to allow time for the agency to recruit and fill the positions. Fiscal staff recommends a technical adjustment to remove the vacancy savings and increase general fund appropriations by $80,737 over the 2023-25 biennium. During the budget hearing on March 31st, 2023, the office indicated the additional programs and Division of Emergency Management had increased programs and program staff. However, neither the director's office nor administrative staff had increased. The decision for the subcommittee on the bottom of page 12 for decision unit E128, does the subcommittee wish to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation for one new administrative services officer position, one new accounting assistant position, one new accountant technician position, one new administrative assistant position, and one new personnel technician position, funded with general fund appropriations of $716,815 over the 23-25 biennium, including the noted technical adjustment.
Members, any questions on this decision unit? Okay, seeing none, I'll accept a motion.
Okay, here we go. I move to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation for one new administrative services officer position, one new accounting assistant position, one new accountant technician position, and one new administrative assistant position, and one new personnel technician position, funded with general fund appropriations of $716,815 over the 2023 to 25 biennium, including the noted technical adjustment.
I'd second.
Okay, we got a motion from Chair Watts, a second from Senator Nguyen. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Ms. Morris.
The next decision unit on page 13, E127, the office indicates two new maintenance repair positions and one custodial supervisor position in Northern Nevada are needed due to the addition of the Navy Operational Support Center, which was acquired by the office on July 12th, 2022, which is currently undergoing renovations and is expected to be completed in August of 2024, as well as the expansion of the Harry Reid Readiness Training Center, or the Washoe Armory. This decision unit includes maintenance expenditures of $45,395 and utilities expenditures of $60,518 in fiscal '25, which the office indicates would be needed for the maintenance of the Navy Operational Support Center. This decision unit E127 includes vacancy savings of $11,061 in fiscal '25, which were inadvertently included in the decision unit, and fiscal staff recommends a technical adjustment to remove the vacancy savings and increase general fund appropriations by $2,765 and federal funds by $8,296 in fiscal 2025. Decision Unit E127, does the subcommittee wish to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation for one new maintenance repair worker position, one new maintenance repair specialist position, and one new custodial supervisor position, funded with general fund appropriations of $102,248 and federal funds of $193,050 over the 23-25 biennium, including the noted technical adjustment.
Thank you. Committee members, do we have questions here? All right, not seeing any, I'll accept a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I move to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation for one new maintenance repair worker position, one new maintenance repair specialist position, and one new custodial supervisor position, funded with general fund appropriations of $102,248 and federal funds of $193,050 over the 2023-25 biennium, including the noted technical adjustment.
Second.
And I've got a motion from Chair Watts, second from Senator Nguyen. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Ms. Morris.
Decision Unit E129, the governor recommends 2 new custodial positions in southern Nevada to improve the cleanliness of the military base facilities in Las Vegas. Currently, 7 existing custodial positions service these facilities, and the existing positions each maintain an average of 48,195 square feet. The recommendation for the 2 new positions would reduce the square footage each custodial position maintains to 37,485 square feet. The decision for the subcommittee, at the bottom of page 13, for Decision Unit E129, does the subcommittee wish to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation for 1 new custodial supervisor position and 1 new custodial worker position funded with general fund appropriations of $96,912 and federal funds of $97,572 over the 2023-25 biennium.
Questions, anyone? Okay, if not, I will accept a motion.
Thank you, Chair. And we definitely need to get out of unkempt neglect. But I was hoping that we could get past moderate dinginess to casual inattention, but I guess that will have to wait until the next biennium. So with that, I would move to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation for 1 new custodial supervisor position and 1 new custodial worker position funded with general fund appropriations of $96,912 and federal funds of $97,572 over the 2023 to 25 biennium.
I'd second that.
Okay, we got a motion from Chair Watts, a second from Senator Nguyen. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. All right, motion carries unanimously.
The last position in this grouping is an unclassified psychological health manager position. The governor recommends general fund appropriations of $177,354 over the biennium for 1 new position in northern Nevada. The office indicates 3 federal mental health providers currently provide services, and the 2021 legislature approved the addition of 1 psychological health manager position in southern Nevada. The agency indicates the existing federal positions are focused on assessing and referring patients and are unable to provide counseling, and in addition, the federal positions are not able to accept initial appointments with service members in less than 1 month. The position that was authorized by the 2021 legislature has allowed service members in southern Nevada to be seen within 1 week and to be assessed quickly in cases of need. The decision unit includes vacancy savings of $10,049 in fiscal '24 and $13,336 in fiscal '25, which were inadvertently included, and fiscal staff recommends a technical adjustment to remove the vacancy savings and increase general fund appropriations by $23,385 over the 23-25 biennium. During the budget hearing on March 31st, 2023, the office indicated approximately 2,000 service members were located in northern Nevada, where this new position would be located. The decision for the subcommittee for Decision Unit E350, does the subcommittee wish to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation for 1 new unclassified psychological health manager position funded with general fund appropriations of $200,739 over the 23-25 biennium, including the noted technical adjustment, and decisions pertaining to unclassified salaries and position changes will be determined by the money committees when the pay bill is considered and fiscal staff requests authority to make any adjustments subsequently required.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Committee members, any questions? Okay, if not, I'll accept a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I move to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation for 1 new unclassified psychological health manager position funded with general fund appropriations of $200,739,000 over the 2023-25 biennium, including the noted technical adjustments, and provide staff authority to make any adjustments subsequently required.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Chair Watts, a second from Senator Nguyen. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Ms. Morris.
Decision Unit E126 recommends 3 new military security officer 2 positions for the Nevada Air Guard Base in Reno. The office indicates the positions would serve as first-line supervisors for the existing 9 military security officer 1 positions. The positions additionally would investigate incidents within the National Guard Security Forces jurisdiction and provide a supervisor position for each shift. During the budget hearing on March 31st, 2023, the office indicated that the positions provide security for and patrol the Nevada Air Guard Base in Reno 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Decision for the subcommittee on page 15, Decision Unit E126. Does the subcommittee wish to recommend approving the governor's recommendation for 3 new military security officer positions funded with federal funds of $466,794 over the 2023-25 biennium?
Questions from the committee? Okay, if not, I will accept a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation for 3 new military security officer positions funded with federal funds of $466,794 over the 2023-25 biennium.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion from Chair Watts, a second from Senator Nguyen. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Ms. Morris.
The 5th major closing item is a salary increase for the Adjutant General. The governor recommends general fund appropriations of $29,235 over the 23-25 biennium to increase the salary of the unclassified Adjutant General, primarily due to increased responsibilities for the position. The office indicates the recommended new salary would align with the salaries of department directors, such as the directors of the Department of Health and Human Services, Public Safety, and Transportation. The increased responsibilities include the oversight of the Division of Emergency Management and new STAR-based programs, and there are approximately 4,700 guardsmen and 227 state employees under the Adjutant General. The agency also indicates the salary of the administrator of the Division of Emergency Management, who reports to the Adjutant General, is equivalent to the existing salary of the Adjutant General. During the budget hearing on March 31st, the office indicated the recommended increase would make the position more attractive to future candidates, and in addition, it would raise the Adjutant General's salary above the annual salary of the Division of Emergency Management and therefore avoid salary compaction issues. The decision box on page 16 indicates decisions pertaining to unclassified salaries and position changes will be determined by the money committees when the pay bill is considered, and staff requests authority to make any adjustments subsequently required. On page 16, there are 4 other closing items for this budget. Other closing item 2 is to correct the position title for 1 position in the base budget to align with the current position. Fiscal staff recommends a technical adjustment to align the title, which would increase general fund appropriations by $2,567 and federal funds by $6,718 over the 2023-25 biennium. Other closing item 3, furlough and terminal sick leave pay were included in the governor's recommended base budget, which were one-time in nature and should be removed from the base budget. Fiscal staff recommends a technical adjustment to eliminate the furlough leave and terminal sick leave expenditures, which would reduce general fund appropriations by $46 and federal funds by $796 over the biennium. And other closing item 4 for the Reno Air Base lease expenditure would be an adjustment to align the current lease expenditure with the amount in the budget. Fiscal staff recommends a technical adjustment to increase the rent expenditures by $626 over the biennium, which would increase general fund appropriations by $156 and federal funds by $470 over the biennium. Fiscal staff recommends other closing item 1 be closed as recommended by the governor, and other closing items 2 through 4 be closed with the noted technical adjustments, and requests authority for staff to make other technical adjustments as necessary.
Any questions here? Okay, if not, I will accept a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I move to recommend other closing item 1 be closed as recommended by the governor, and other closing items 2 through 4 be closed with the noted technical adjustments, and provide staff authority to make other technical adjustments as necessary.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Chair Watts, a second from Senator Nguyen. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Ms. Morris.
Thank you, Chair. The next budget to be considered by the subcommittee begins on page 21 of the closing packet, is the Military Emergency Operations Center Budget Account 3655. The Emergency Operations Center houses the Nevada Division of Emergency Management, Highway Patrol Dispatch, Division of Investigation, National Guard Civil Support, and the Nevada Division of Forestry. There is one major closing issue in this budget, which is the building rent revenue, facility maintenance, and reserve levels. The governor recommends building rent revenue of $477,431 in fiscal year '24 and $478,394 in fiscal '25 to fund recommended facility maintenance expenditures of $100,968 in each year of the biennium in Decision Unit E250 and other facility maintenance expenditures in the base budget. Agencies that occupy space at the Emergency Operations Center pay rent to the Office of the Military based on the space occupied, which supports the building's operational costs, including maintenance, utilities, and 2 full-time positions. The 2021 legislature approved a monthly rent charge of 78 cents per square foot, and the monthly rent charge for the 23-25 biennium in the governor's recommended budget would be $1.09 per square foot, or a 39.7% increase, which would generate $466,682 each year in rent revenue. The budgeted expenditures, however, for the agencies paying rent for space in the Emergency Operations Center totals the $468,617,000 in each year. And the Governor's Finance Office and agency concur technical adjustments are needed to align the rent revenue with the total expenditures in the paying budgets. Fiscal staff recommends a technical adjustment to align the rent revenue in this budget with the total expenditures in the paying agency budgets, which would decrease rent revenue in the base budget by $820 in fiscal year '24 and $822 in fiscal year '25, with corresponding decreases in reserves over the biennium. The governor's recommendation to increase rent would fund facilities maintenance projects listed on page 22 of the closing packet, which total $415,862 over the biennium, including Decision Unit E250. In Decision Unit E250, the governor recommends $100,968 in each year of the biennium for facilities maintenance, funded with balance forward revenues, which is incorrect and should be funded with reserves. Fiscal staff recommends a technical adjustment to eliminate balance forward revenues and reduce reserves by $100,968 in each year of the 2023-25 biennium. With the recommended adjustments to align the rent revenue in the base budget with total expenditures in the paying budgets and to fund Decision Unit E250 with reserves, reserve levels would be approximately 134 days in fiscal '24 and 76 days in fiscal year '25. At the bottom of page 22, the 2021 legislature approved language for inclusion in the Authorizations Act, providing that the funds in this budget are restricted for the uses specified and unexpended funds may be carried forward to the next fiscal year, and the agency requests similar language for inclusion in the Authorizations Act for the 23-25 biennium. The decision for the subcommittee at the top of page 23 Does the subcommittee wish to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation to increase facilities maintenance expenditures by $100,968 in each year of the 23-25 biennium with the noted technical adjustments? And does the subcommittee wish to recommend approval to continue language in the Authorizations Act to provide authority for the funds in this budget to be restricted for the uses specified and to carry forward unexpended funds to the next fiscal year?
Okay, does the committee have any questions here? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation to increase facilities maintenance expenditures by $100,968 in each year of the 23-25 biennium with the noted technical adjustments, and to recommend approval to continue language in the Authorizations Act to provide authority for the funds in this budget to be restricted for the uses specified and to carry forward unexpended funds to the next fiscal year.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Chair Watts, a second from Senator Nguyen. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Ms. Morris.
The next budget begins on page 25 of the closing packet. It is for the Division of Emergency Management, which coordinates and facilitates planning, training, exercise, and equipment initiatives in preparing for, responding to, and recovering from the impact of any emergency or disaster situation. There is one major closing issue in this budget, which is a new statewide 911 coordinator position. The governor recommends general fund appropriations of $162,566 over the biennium for one new program officer position who would serve as a statewide 911 coordinator. The agency indicates the position would allow the agency to implement next generation 911 systems, which is a digital internet protocol-based system, and would address 911 issues related to technology advancements. According to a 2016 study, the 911 systems in Nevada were comprised of 22 separate systems, only 5 of which were at the time were next generation 911 systems. And the agency indicates it does not have sufficient resources to track the systems in the state and could not verify this is still correct. The agency indicates this new position would perform a gap analysis to determine the systems currently in use and what systems need to be implemented before developing a plan and determining available funding to coordinate a statewide program. The agency indicates the position would assist state and local government agencies in implementing next generation 911 systems, provide administrative oversight of legislative mandates, and address 911 issues related to technology advancements. The statewide 911 coordinator would be the single point of contact for 911 systems in the state, and the agency anticipates future federal grant funding would be available from the Federal Communications Commission for 911 systems, and having a statewide 911 coordinator position would allow the state to be eligible for these grants. During the budget hearing on March 31st, 2023, the agency indicated the position would analyze the existing 911 systems, develop plans to implement system improvements, and would potentially allow the state to be eligible for future federal grants to implement the systems. In addition, the 911 coordinator would review available funding, including 911 fees already being collected, which could potentially fund system improvements as well as this position in the future. The decision on page 27 for the subcommittee. Does the subcommittee wish to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation for one new program officer position to serve as the statewide 911 coordinator funded with general fund appropriations of $162,566 over the 23-25 biennium?
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Committee members, any questions on the 911 coordinator position? Okay, not seeing any, I'll accept a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I move to recommend approval of the governor's recommendation for one new program officer position to serve as a statewide 911 coordinator funded with general fund appropriations of $162,566 over the 2023-25 biennium.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Chair Watts, a second from Senator Nguyen. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Ms. Morris.
The other closing items for this budget begin on page 27. Other closing items 5 and 6 are conversions of contract positions to full-time positions where technical adjustments are recommended to provide 3 months of contract expenditures in fiscal '24 to allow the agency time to recruit and fill the full-time positions recommended by the governor. On page 28 is a replacement equipment decision unit, which is duplicative of a recommended one-time general fund appropriation recommended by the governor. So fiscal staff recommends the subcommittee not approve decision unit E711, which would reduce general fund appropriations by $7,426, federal funds by $7,426, and interagency transfers by $34,652 over the 23-25 biennium. Fiscal staff recommends other closing items 1 through 4 be closed as recommended by the governor. Other closing items 5 and 6 be closed with the noted technical adjustments, and other closing item 7 not be recommended for approval, and requests authority for staff to make other technical adjustments as necessary.
Committee members, any discussion on the other closing items in this budget? Senator Goycochea.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so then if we don't approve this new equipment, then what are we going to do?
The new, there is a one-time funding recommendation by the governor, and that was, according to the governor's finance office, that was the intent.
Okay, all right, so we're going to replace it with one shots. Be done with it. Thank you.
Yes, that's correct, Senator. Additional questions? Okay, I'll accept a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to recommend other closing items 1 through 4 be closed as recommended by the governor. Other closing items 5 and 6 be closed with the noted technical adjustments. Other closing item 7 not be recommended for approval, and to provide authority for staff to make other technical adjustments as necessary.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Chair Watts, a second from Senator Nguyen. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Ms. Morris.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I will now begin presenting the budgets which the subcommittee has not previously reviewed for the Office of the Military and for which fiscal staff is responsible for developing closing recommendations. I will pause following my presentation of each budget to allow for questions. When I've presented the last budget in this group and questions have been addressed, the chair may wish to ask for a single motion for closing consideration of all the budgets for which fiscal staff is responsible for developing recommendations. The first budget on page 31 of the packet is the Adjutant General's Special Armory account, which would receive rental income for the use of the armories or other facilities. There are no major closing issues and no other closing items in this budget.
Questions here, members? Okay, let's keep going.
The next budget on page 33 is budget account 3653, Military National Guard benefits, which pays the cost of summer school tuition, which is not waived by the Nevada System of Higher Education. There are no major closing issues and 2 other closing items, the second of which is Appropriations Act back language, which provides the general fund appropriations in this budget are available for both fiscal years and may be transferred within the same budget from one fiscal year to the other, and the governor recommends similar language for inclusion in the Appropriations Act for the 23-25 biennium.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. I'll go ahead and note that here on this particular budget account in fiscal year 2022, it would only be $14,067 to provide the 100% tuition reimbursement for all of the members who applied. And it is my intention when we move to close all of these staff closed budgets that we recommend including a one-time general fund appropriation in the amount of $14,067 to cover the 2022 tuition reimbursement. But we'll deal with that when we get there. Ms. Morris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Page 35 is the Military Patriot Relief Fund budget, which provides reimbursements for certain group life insurance policy premiums, textbooks, and monetary relief from economic hardships. There is one other closing item in this budget, which is the elimination of reserves that were inadvertently included in this budget. Fiscal staff recommends a technical adjustment to increase scholarship expenditures by the $40,905 and eliminate reserves in each year of the 23-25 biennium.
Committee members, any questions here? Okay, we'll move on to the next one.
On page 37, the state active duty budget account 3658. This is for when members of the Nevada National Guard are called to state active duty by the governor to fight a fire, combat a flood, or any other emergency and are performing as a labor force rather than a military force to receive pay and allowances. There are no major closing issues in this budget, and one other closing item, which is Appropriations Act back language. The 2021 legislature approved language to include that provides if the governor orders the Nevada National Guard into active duty and the adjutant general determines expenditures will be required, the adjutant general may request a temporary advance from the state general fund of not more than $25,000 per activation. And the governor recommends similar language for inclusion in the Appropriations Act in the 23-25 biennium.
Committee members, any questions on the military state active duty budget? Okay, we'll continue on then.
The next budget on page 39 is the Emergency Management Assistance Grants, which is a pass-through budget for federal grants received for emergency management purposes. There are no major closing issues and no other closing items for this budget.
Any questions here? Okay, let's keep going.
The last budget is on page 41, budget account 3675, which is Homeland Security, which is a collaborative agency to assist, advise, and engage with various partners to prevent and detect and deter terrorism activity. There are no major closing issues in this budget. There is one closing item on page 42 for replacement equipment, which includes expenditures that are already funded in the base budget, and fiscal staff recommends a technical adjustment to eliminate 4 Microsoft Office 365 licenses, which would reduce general fund appropriations by $230, federal funds by $172, and interagency transfers by $750 over the 23-25 biennium.
All right, committee members, last chance to ask any questions about the Office of Military Budget ever again. Anyone? Senator Goycochea.
You knew if you waited long enough, right? I'm just kind of concerned when we're talking about, I'm going to have to go back in these budgets, but anyway, they can request $25,000 if they're activated as a labor force rather than a military force. I'm just, $25,000 doesn't give the guys gas to get there. So I'm just curious about, why that's such a small amount. You would think they'd have the ability to, if at the point they were activated and it was some kind of response to, i.e. a disaster or whatever, which I assume it would be, why that's capped at such a small number.
And Senator, I am not aware of the history behind the number and where it came from. I do know that this language has been carried over in past biennia, but I will invite up our Adjutant General to discuss whether that number is sufficient.
I just didn't want you to set a new record for getting out of here too, so, okay.
Thank you, Major General Andre Berry, Office of the Military. That's exactly right. It's just historically been the number, and you were exactly right. That does not cover a lot in terms of if you were able to activate any number of military personnel for a state active duty emergency. If I could start with the number, if that's an ask, I'm just assuming that's what you're asking me, that $100,000 would be much more appropriate than $25,000, and that would give us the opportunity to, from an emergency standpoint, to go forward and be able to work on whatever the challenge is in front of us, and then work through getting additional funding later. So that would be a more appropriate amount, but that's just a historical amount. Thank you.
Thank you. And truly, unless it's been drawn, it isn't really a budget impact, but I just think it's ridiculous that we're looking at $25,000 to, when you talk about activating and responding, and understanding down the road we have to cover it anyway, but whether it's 25 or 100, but just wouldn't give me much security if I was Major General to say, okay, folks, we're going to work, but by the way, this is all we got. So thank you.
Chair Watts.
Thank you, Chair Harris, and I appreciate the question and the response, and also appreciate the note that, again, we want to make sure that we're able to provide those funds so that we can immediately get into the response, knowing that ultimately things will come back to the Interim Finance Committee for approval of work programs if we need to make additional expenses. But I'd be willing, at least since this has kind of come up at the last minute, to maybe split the difference and maybe go up to $50,000 in the back language to provide a little bit of additional flexibility in making sure that you can hit the ground running if you need to mobilize.
Major General Andre Berry, Office of Military, thank you. That is way good. Appreciate that.
Committee members, any additional questions, discussion? Okay, Ms. Morris.
The summary on page 43 of the closing packet, as previously noted, fiscal staff is responsible for developing recommendations for the following budgets. To assist with the closing, fiscal staff has identified the budgets that are recommended to be closed as recommended by the governor, along with the identified technical adjustments that are recommended below. Fiscal staff recommends that the following budgets be closed as recommended by the governor with the technical adjustments noted, and requests authority for fiscal staff to make other technical adjustments as necessary. Budget account 3658, state active duty, with the inclusion of language in the Appropriations Act to allow the Adjutant General to request an advance from the State General Fund of not more than $50,000 per activation if the Nevada National Guard is ordered to active duty by the governor and the Adjutant General determines expenditures will be required. Budget account 3652, Adjutant General Special Armory account. Budget account 3653, Military National Guard benefits, with the inclusion of language in the Appropriations Act to allow general fund appropriations in this budget to be transferred within the same budget from one fiscal year to the other with the approval of the Interim Finance Committee upon recommendation from the governor. In addition, a one-time general fund appropriation of $14,067 to provide for fiscal year 2022 reimbursements. Budget account 3654, Military Patriot Relief Fund, including technical adjustments to eliminate reserves and increase scholarship expenditures by $40,905 in each year of the 23-25 biennium. Budget account 3674, Emergency Management Assistance Grants, and budget account 3675, Homeland Security, including technical adjustments to eliminate duplicated Microsoft Office 365 expenditures and reduce general fund appropriations by $230, federal funds by $172, and interagency transfers by $750 over the 23-25 biennium.
Okay, members, any questions on that summary? If not, I'll accept a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to close these Office of the Military budgets as read by staff with the noted changes.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion from Chair Watts, a second for Senator Nguyen. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. Before we conclude, you may have noted that there were quite a bit of technical adjustments in this budget, and that's really just a nice way of saying mistakes caught. And that is largely on the due diligence of our fiscal staff and Ms. Morris in particular. And so I wanted to just give them a shout out for making sure that everything is in order and that we are doing our job to the best of our ability. So thank you, very much appreciated. Absolutely. Any public comment? Okay, I don't see anyone in Las Vegas, BPS. Any public comment on the phone, please?
Mr. Chair, we have no callers for public comment.
Okay, thank you. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned. Have a great day, everybody. And still in record time.